and welcome to Emerald Cottage. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. This is my place on the internet to talk about crochet and knitting and cross stitch and sewing and any other crafty things that I get up to, really. My name's Jill and I'm coming to you from Berkshire in the south of England. It's the 22nd of May today, and you would think it would be kind of British summertime, but no, it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. It's horrible. I've had a good week. It was my birthday on Friday, I think it was. And I had a lovely day. I went out for breakfast with my husband, went out for lunch with my friend, went out for dinner with a group of friends, had a pedicure and a haircut in the afternoon, and it was just a really lovely day. I really enjoyed it. I did get lots of lovely presents, not very many crafty things, so I won't show you too much. I did get this book though from my daughter, which is lovely, isn't it? Really sweet little cacti to crochet. I thought it was really cute. I'm looking forward to having a go at some of those. I've got some pots actually that need some plants putting in them, so I thought this would be a nice way to use up the pots. The proper little terracotta pots, they're really cute. I bought them years ago to put some crochet cactus in, and the cactus that I made was far too small for them, so I've still got all the pots left. But yeah, really sweet book. So like it's got, let's have a look, Fenestraria, they've all got proper names. Really cute. What else have they got? Let's have a look. Sansevieria cylindrica. Ooh, bit of a mouthful there. But yeah, really lovely book. Just gorgeous. It's got 15 colourful cacti, and other pot plants to make for your home. Beautiful. So thank you, Kerry, for that. What else did I get? I got some new blocking mats because the ones I've got aren't enough. I need to extend them, so I got a pack to extend them with. And my husband got me a new computer so I can do lots of proper editing of videos, so that was nice of him. So yeah, lovely day, all in all, really good day. Excuse me. Oh, I got this mug for my friend as well. Crochet is my happy place. Perfect. So got a bit of a different episode for you today. I think I mentioned in my last video that I have been making toys for a craft fair that I'm doing in about 4 weeks' time. But I've decided that I'm going to safety test all my toys, so I've been doing a lot of testing of them, and I've got a whole array here of things that I've made. Some have passed, some have failed. I thought I'd just kind of work my way through them one by one. So it's not going to be a traditional finished objects, work in progress, acquisitions video. It's going to be quite a different format today. So we'll give it a go anyway to see what happens. I'm just going to adjust you because you're a bit high up. That's a bit better. So the first thing I thought I'd make was some small toys to put in these cute little backpacks that I'd seen on another, I think it was on Blondie Knots, her name is. And it's like a little paper backpack that velcros open and closed. And then you can open it up to put a little toy inside. So the ones that fit would be like these little ones, this little turtle. He would fit in there, and then you close it all up. A bit of a fiddle to close, but you get the idea anyway. Close it all up, and you've got a little mystery box with a mystery little turtle in it. So I wasn't sure whether to make the mystery boxes or whether to just have them as you pick the animal you want and get a free backpack. Couldn't decide, but I've actually decided I'm not going to do them at all this time round because I don't have time. Testing the bigger items has taken up so much of my time that I just haven't got time to do the small items. So the other small items that I'd done were this bunny, which I think you saw for Easter. This bunny I did. What else? I did a couple of dinosaurs, which are quite cute. Oh, there we go, little dinosaurs. Oh, really sweet. And an axolotl, which I don't know if you've heard of an axolotl before. An axolotl is a kind of lizardy fish thing. It's an amphibian. No, it's a reptile. I think reptile. Yes, it's like a lizard. It's a reptile, and it's got these kind of like flowery bits around its head. So I made this little guy here. He's got a little tail as well. I think he's really sweet. And the good thing about him is he stands up. Is he going to do it? He stands up, which is really good. The dinosaurs tend to just fall over. Oh, I'm not going to do it now. Fall over under their noses like that. They're not so stable. They just go clonk and fall over. whereas the axolotl stands up, which is quite good. And I also made this little bear, but he turned out to be a bit too big for the box, and that's the problem, is trying to find toys that are small enough. So I'm trying to have a look on the internet, and a lot of people have made these little octopi, which I will just show you this kind of shambles of one here. So this little octopus, one octopus, multiple octopi, and you can see he's got these like little bobbles. You can focus. Bobbles for his tentacle type things. So his little octopus, he's got 8 bobbles around his base that represent his kind of curled up tentacles. Is that the right word, tentacles? But one of the tests that you have to do when you're safety testing toys is weight testing. So let me backtrack and explain. So when you're safety testing toys, soft toys particularly, there are 3 elements that the toy has to pass on. Basically, there is chemical safety, that checks that there's no nasty chemicals in the materials that you've used to make the toy, and you get certificates from the manufacturers of the materials that say that they're compliant. So that's how that one passes or fails, by having the valid certificates or not. Then you weight test a toy, so you literally hang a bag of weights off it using a clamp like this, with a hook like this. So you clamp this to the toy, hold the toy, and then you hang the weights off it, so that the whole weight of this is hanging off the toy, if you see what I mean. And you have to add up to 10 kilograms of weight. It's quite heavy. So the toy has to withstand that. So all the seams and all the extra bits that have been sewn on, like a tail or an arm or a leg, have to withstand that kind of weight. And then there's the third sort of testing, which is flammability testing. Now, I haven't done any flammability testing yet. I've got lots of materials ready to go, and we'll come on to that shortly. But to get back to the first type of testing, chemical testing, there's no tests that I have to do for that. I just have to find the certificates that are made by the manufacturers, which is fairly straightforward, given that I'm on a Facebook group who gather them all for me, so that's great. It's called UK, let me have a quick look in case you're interested. It is called CE and UKCA marked Soft Toy Support Network, and it's a great Facebook group, got loads and loads of handy hints and tips for if you're trying to put the UKCA safety mark on your toy. So it's a UK group. There probably are equivalents in the US, I would imagine, or elsewhere around the world, but in the UK it's UKCA is the mark. In Europe it's CE. And if I wanted to sell to Europe, I'd have to CE mark my toys, but I'm not going to sell to Europe, I'm just going to sell locally. So I only have to have the UKCA mark on my soft toys. Does that make sense? I hope so. So that was the chemical testing. The weight testing, where you hang the weights off each toy. So one of the first tests that I did on this octopus was the weight testing, and as you can see, he failed miserably. So I had to hook the hook onto so the clamp was too small to attach to the toy, so I had to hook the hook on like, let's get through, like that. One hook there and then one hook with all the weights on, and you can see that it just ripped. It just literally ripped the stitch right out. So I've tried it a couple of times, and the tentacles just collapsed on me. So that was an epic fail. And there's no way around that, and it's because these little tentacles are just a bobble, so they're essentially a stitch, which means that where they join the main body is just a stitch of material, and it's just not enough to withstand that kind of weight, which means if a child were to pull on it with enough force, it could come off, and obviously then represents a choking hazard, so that's no good. Also, it allows all the stuffing to come out, which is not good either. So that was a bit of a fail, well, an epic fail, as I say. A bit of a disappointment, because I'd hoped to make lots of these guys to put in these mystery boxes, because they seemed like the perfect little size to go in. So then I thought I'd make some out of standard DK material. This was DK yarn. This was made out of plushie yarn, so a bit like this yarn here. I probably can't see very clearly. So it's plushie yarn, and it's basically a really thin, if I can get some off, really thin strand. Can you see? a really thin strand with lots of chenille attached to it. So obviously when you're hanging a weight off this, off the bubble, the weight is all hanging off that single strand. Whereas when you hang a weight off a little acrylic DK Octopus, it's hanging off a strand of acrylic DK, which is considerably stronger than this chenille stuff. So hanging a weight off this guy, pop it in there, hang the weight off this guy, that actually held up to the weight. Oops, you gonna focus? That held up to the weight, and it didn't fail, it passed. But I think this guy's not as cute as this guy. So he's a lot smaller, just doesn't look anywhere near as cuddly as this one. So I don't think that this is going to work in this because it's too small and it's not cuddly enough. So that was back to the drawing board, and I just couldn't find any patterns that were small enough and cute enough that didn't take forever to crochet to make it worthwhile doing these. So I'm not doing these for the next craft fair. I'm going to leave these. Something in that one. What's in that one? Is it a turtle? Oh yeah, the turtle. I'm going to leave these ones for now until I've got more time to think about what I want to put in, because although I've got another 4 weeks, it's going to only 3.5 weeks at this point. It's going to go really quickly, and I've got to make a lot of stuff in that time. So then I thought, well, I'll make some bigger toys, and they'll have to do. So the first one I made was a big axolotl, which is this guy here. So he's like a mummy axolotl, and he didn't do too badly actually. His frill bits up here passed, they all passed, but his foot didn't. So sewing on of his foot wasn't strong enough, and that failed. So I need to go back and sew that on a bit better in order to try again with him. His tail passed as well, his frills on his tail. But the problem with him is I'm not sure if he's that cute. I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? Let me know what you think. And to me that looks like a flower, not an axolotl, but I guess it's because it's got all the body as well, so it's kind of laying down. I have got a more baby axolotl, which I think is cuter, which is this one. Now baby axolotl, he failed again on the weight testing. You can see that his frills ripped off. Is it going to focus? His frills just here ripped off. So I put some on the back just as an experiment with DK instead of DK doubled over, and they held. So I think what I'm going to do is make this little guy the same as he's been made here, but use the double knit doubled over for his little flowery bit, his little, I think they call them frills, for his little frills, and you can see he's got a frill in his tail as well. So I'll just use the double knit doubled over for that, and hopefully that will pass, because he's a lot cuter, and I can make quite a few of him. So yes, that's my mini axolotl. Then I made a mini chicken. I think I showed you this last time, did I? I can't remember. This is the pattern from Oak and Marlow. I should be telling you all the patterns as I go along, but I can't remember who they're all by. I'll link them down below. This is a pattern by Oak and Marlow, so it's just a really simple little chick. But I want to make some that have been made with doubled over yarn to make them a bit bigger, because I think this is too small to sell. Very cute, but too small. So yeah, so that was my little chick. Then I made this little bear, this little cute guy here, who's missing a nose at the moment. He needs to have an extra bit of black on there for his nose. But other than that, he's very cute. And he passed, actually, he passed the weight test. So I tested his arms, looking a bit stretched out at the minute because the weight stretches them out. So his arms passed, and his ears passed, and his nose all passed. What I haven't tested yet on him is his eyes, and I'll come on to eyes in a minute. But he passed the test, so he's a pattern that's good to go. I still have to fire test all of these, which I'll come on to again in a minute. But yes, he passed the test, so that was good. So he's quite cute. I'm going to make some of him, and I can make different coloured t-shirts on him, which is quite good as well. So you can kind of, not personalised, but they'll be a bit different. I can make like a whole rainbow of them. And then I made this guy here. Oh, look at him. Oh, look, little Foxy Loxy. He's so cute. So cute. Now, he has been weight tested and he passed. Hooray. So I had to weight test his arms, his legs, his little tail with the white flash on the end. Isn't it cute? And his ears. And you can see just there the dirty marks from the clamp. So obviously the toy that's tested is not sold, because by the time you tested it, it's looking a bit worse for wear. There's a big dirty mark there on his arm as well, can you see? And that's from the clamp. So the clamp is this heavy duty beast here. And it's, yeah, it's kind of, it's not dirty, it's just a bit grubby, I suppose. And just the nature of it, really. So yeah, so he passed the weight test, so that was good. So he's lovely, I'm really pleased with him. I'm going to make quite a few of him, I think. I've got a wolf to do as well, in the exact same pattern, so that you do the orange bit grey. So I have a wolf and a fox, so that'll be good. So he passed weight testing, well done. Very good boy. Oh, and his weight test is his noses as well, because his nose is sewn on separately. Basically, you weight test anywhere where there's a join. So you have to weight test between his head and his body, for example, because they've been joined together. And from his nose to his head, because they've been joined together. So he passed those weight tests. That was good. Well done, Foxy Loxy. Then I made a bumblebee, which I'm sure you've seen these bees on the internet, on YouTube rather. Lots of places, lots of people are making them. They're very cute, and he hasn't been tested yet, so we've got, in fact that's not true, I weight tested his wings and they passed, so that was good. Every time I do a weight test I think it's going to fail every single time, because it's a really heavy weight, you have to hold on to them, but his wings passed, so you know, that was good. So then I'd also made this little pig, which I thought was very cute. But again, his feet, and he has 4 little feet. He's got 4 little feet there, can you see in the base? 1, 2, 3, 4. Each foot is just a bobble. And as we know from the octopus, the bobbles do not stand up to the weight test. So can't make these guys. So annoying. I bought quite a few patterns of little, they call them no-sew crochet patterns, of no-sew dogs and cats and pigs and rabbits and you name it. And then of course they wouldn't stand up to the weight test, so that was completely a waste of money, so that was very annoying. However, you live and learn. Quick sip of coffee. So then to get back to the bee, I made another bee, and this one has, as you can see, well actually no, let me backtrack. I made a cow. I say cow. And this cow had compliant safety eyes. So all these toys have got eyes in, as you can see. Foxy Loxy's got eyes in, they're all safety eyes. And the safety eyes, excuse me, have to be weight tested as well. And the way you weight test a safety eye is by putting the eye through a ribbon, and you hang the weight off the ribbon, and then the ribbon pulls on the eye. I did that on the cow, and as you can see he's missing an eye because the test failed, so the eye just popped right out through, so the backing stayed on the eye. You know the way safety eyes have got that, I haven't got one handy, but you can see on this test piece, the safety eye's you've got the eye in front, and then you've got the sandwich with the fabric, and then you've got that little backing piece on the back that sort of snaps onto it, can you see? So the way you test that is by putting a piece of ribbon between the fabric and the front of the safety eye, and then you hang the weights off the ribbon. And as I said before, his eye just pulled straight out, the backing and all, it just came out of the hole. So the way to get around that is to sew to fasten the eye onto a piece of felt. You gonna focus? Yes. So my sandwich becomes safety eye, ribbon, fabric, felt, and then the piece of backing, and that just piece of felt just gives it more substantialness. So that when you pull on it, this piece passed. So when you pull on it, it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of pressing the weight across the felt a bit more, so it's not quite as much pressure coming down on that one little joint. So this one passed. This was my test piece. This one passed. I can't test this eye because I didn't put a piece of ribbon on him, so that was quite annoying. So although he failed initially, I then worked around it by using this piece of felt behind the safety eye. So that was a fail, but I have a workaround. Mr. Cow didn't do very well because then his ear failed. As you can see there, it just opened up the material, it ripped. So the stuffing's exposed, which then becomes a choking hazard. So you can't have that. So the workaround for that is just to sew it on better. So I sewed this on with just sewing thread, Gutermann thread. So I've got Gutermann thread, which is compliant, because all elements have to be compliant. So the threads you use, I said before about the safety eyes have to be compliant there. So the safety eyes you use, anything that you use on the outside of the toy has to be compliant. And I sewed the ear on with thread, and that didn't hold. So my backup for that, which I tried on this piece here, was to sew it on with double knitting yarn, and that held the weight. So that's my backup for that. And then I also on this guy sewed on my label that I'm sewing on, which is a UKCA mark label, which you can just see. It's gonna focus. I really want you to see it because it says Emerald Cottage on it. Oh, it's not going to focus, is it? Oh no, there we go. It says Emerald Cottage on it. Can you see? I'm trying to cover up my address because you have to put your address in the labels. So Emerald Cottage, UKCA, and you can see, as you can see, that ripped straight out. So I had to hang the weight off the label, and then it ripped. So the workaround for that, which is in this example here, you can see it's much stronger. What you do to attach these labels, you kind of, where you've got a row of stitches, instead of doing 4 single crochets, for example, you do 4 chains and then skip 4 stitches, carry on with your pattern as normal, and then you insert the ribbon into that gap, and you also back the ribbon on a piece of felt, so the felt comes out again. So we've got this ribbon which has been attached, you can just see there, attached to this piece of felt. So it's sewn onto the felt, a couple of rows of stitches, and then inserted into the gap, and then again sewn over, so that the actual ribbon is attached, label is attached to the fabric as well as attached to the felt. So the workaround for that was just to sew it on better. So I did it better this time, and that held the weight, so that was good. So that was the workaround for that. So Mr. Cow didn't do very well at all. He failed on 3 counts. He failed on his ear, he failed on his label, and he failed on his eye. But as I say, these test pieces here gave me workarounds for all of those, so that was good. So I'm confident that if I do him again, he'll pass. I then, yesterday, we're getting up to almost real time now. Yesterday I crocheted this bee, and he is now ready to test. So he's got a label that was sewn in a bit more strongly. He's got ribbon on his safety eye, which is backed with felt. His wings are sewn on with double knitting wool, so there he should hold the weight. And that's all the weight testing bits and pieces. And then I also made this turtle, which looks really cute. I really love him. And again, he's got ribbons on his eyes to weight test both of them, and he's got a label sticking out his bottom, you can see there. Yeah, he's ready to test, so I'll have to weight test his label, his tail, his 4 fins, and his head and body need weight testing, and then his eyes need weight testing. And I just hope that he passes, because it's so demoralising when they don't pass after all that work of crocheting, and then they fail. You're like, oh no, what am I going to do now? And obviously you have to test a finished piece. So the way it works is you test a finished piece, and you note down in your files how you made it, essentially the method you use for manufacturing the toy, and then those are the methods you use thereafter in the actual toys that you sell. So you don't need to test every single toy, you just test like a particular specific model of the toy, and then once that model toy passes, then you can use the testing due diligence for your other toys of that same type. The one thing we haven't talked about is fire testing. So if your toy is more than 15 centimeters, which this guy is, you have to set fire. You have to set fire to the whole toy, and you measure the burn rate of the flame, and there's a limit that it has to be under in order to pass flammability testing. So this is my test subject for the fire testing. So I'll be fire testing him. Not looking forward to that at all, but it has to be done. Anything else that's under 15 centimeters, like these guys. These guys are under 15 centimeters, as you can see. Well, not you can see, but here's my 15 centimeter ruler. Just pick it up. It doesn't want to come up. So 15 centimeter ruler, and he's just below 15 centimeters, you can see. So he needs to be, he needs to have other components to flame test him. So what you do is you crochet these cylinders, like a test sausage. I think I've mentioned these before as well, in the colour that you use on your toy. So for this one I've got a green sausage. I'm just in the middle of crocheting this beigey coloured one as well. So those are the test sausages for this guy here. I'll also have to have an unstuffed piece that replicates his unstuffed fins, because they're not stuffed. This will be stuffed to replicate his head and his body. And then you hang these off a metal stand, you set fire to this, and you measure the burn rate of how fast it burns, and that again tells you whether it passes or fails. I've made a whole bunch of these. So had to make, for the bee, obviously I had to make a black one and a yellow one. So those are those ones. I also had to make a black double knit one. These are really, really phallic, aren't they? Sorry about that. Black double knit one, because the bumblebee uses black. Does it use black? No, the fox rather. The fox uses black double knit yarn to make the magic circle and all these magic loop bits. To kind of just reiterate that point, actually, I wasn't able to do a magic circle, a magic loop with the plushie yarn, because when you pull it taut to join all the stitches together, it just snaps. So what I had to do was crochet my 6 stitches or whatever it was around a piece of acrylic wool, and you do the magic loop that way, and then tighten the acrylic wool to pull the ring in, and that worked. But then you have to test for the yarn that you use in the magic ring as well, so it has to be flame tested as well, hence the black double knit test sausage. For the bee, as I said, it was the black and yellow, and then a white just panel, just a plain panel, you see. And that's what you need to use for the bee's wings flammability testing. So yeah, so that's my cylinders. I've made, as you can see, loads of these different colours. And I must show you actually the yarn that I'm using is for all these toys. So I tried various different types, but the one I've come to use the most is called Jelly Baby by Signet. So that's the... Is it going to focus? No, it's not going to focus. Great, helpful. Jelly Bean, or no, not Jelly Bean, Jelly Baby, sorry, Jelly Baby yarn by Signet. And I've bought about 12, 13 different colours, which you can just see here. All the lovely colours. They're gorgeous, aren't they? So really nice rainbow rev colours. It should give me a nice display on my stand. And I think that is everything that I have to tell you about. So my first, so obviously the testing is all up front. So you make the model, you test it, and then you can make as many toys as you want in that style, and not have to test again until, I think you're supposed to regularly check for compliance of the yarns that you use, but you don't have to fire test again, you don't have to weight test again once you've established which methods pass those tests. So the testing, as I say, is very front loaded, so there's a lot of testing now to do. So I've got to do all of that before I can even start to make the toys for the craft fair. So part of me is like, oh my god, I'm not going to get it done, but I keep just thinking, no, I'll just do what I can, and if I have a small stall, that's fine. It's a small stall for the first one, it's fine, and we'll just build it from there. So the jobs that I've got to do next today are flame test my bee and flame test my turtle, well, my cylinders. But in fact do the full test on both these guys. So do my weight test. Sorry, my camera stopped. Do my weight testing on these two guys. Where's it gone? Weight testing on these, and then flame testing on their appropriate cylinder things. So that's the next job for today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they pass, in which case I can just make these, which would be great. And then I've got about another 8 different models to make. So I've got the fox, I've got the axolotl, I've got the chicken, which I want to make bigger. I've got the cow. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. I've got the teddy bear, which is 7. And then I've also got a wolf and a dog, which I haven't made yet. I think that was it. So these were my labels that I had made. So they come in a strip. So this one, for example, is for the fox. So you can see it has model number fox. Come on. Oh, it doesn't like it. It doesn't like the brightness. No, you can just see there it says model number fox. Come on. There. Oh, briefly saw it. So they come in a strip, and the labels themselves have to be compliant, and the ink used on the labels has to be compliant as well, so that if a child sucks the label, they don't get poisoned, basically. So yes, the labels are compliant as well. So every aspect of them is compliant. And I feel very proud that I'm safety testing all these toys, so I know with certainty I can sell these, and I've done everything I can to make sure they're safe for kids. Soft toys have to be suitable for babies, so you can put on them that they're not meant to be used by children aged 3 and below, but from a legal standpoint they have to be suitable for babies because of the nature of the toy. So I feel very, very proud that I'm testing all these and doing all this work. And yeah, hopefully then it'll all pay off and I'll do well at my craft fair. So my craft fair is on the 15th of June. So 3.5 weeks away. So I'm hoping I can get all my testing done this week and then have 3 straight weeks of making. And I reckon I can make 2 plushies a day at least. So that'll be 40 odd plushies, which I think is not insignificant. I'm quite happy with that. And I've got some bags and things and pencil cases to sell that I made before as well. So I can add those to my stock. So yeah, so it's all looking very, very hopeful. Just got to hope that these guys pass. So keep everything crossed, please, for these two to pass their tests. Going to pass? Yes. You're going to pass? Yes. Yes, we're going to pass. So that'll be good. And with that, I shall bid you farewell. Hope you've enjoyed this slightly unusual episode. My next episode, hopefully I'll have completed the testing and then have lots of finished products to show you. And be ramping up really on the manufacturing for the craft fair. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button, because that just lets me know that you're enjoying my videos. Give me the thumbs up if you can. Leave a comment if you want to. That's lovely. I always love reading everybody's comments. I try and reply to them all. And generally just have a great day, and thanks for joining me. See you soon. Bye.